Committee of Public Property, Public Work is now in session. Will the clerk please read the titles of the bills?
Bill number 160617, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property and the Director of Commerce on behalf of the city to acquire approximately 20.8 acres of land known as Parcel G, bounded by Island and Bartram Avenues and I-95, together with all improvements thereon, all under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 160774, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to accept an assignment of an easement agreement pertaining to the property along the Delaware River bounded by North Delaware Avenue, Penn Treaty Park, the Delaware River, and Shackamaxon Street, extended to the Delaware River, commonly known as 1143-51 Delaware Avenue, Philadelphia, PA, under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 160775, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the city to acquire fee simple title or a lesser interest such as an easement by purchase, condemnation, or otherwise in parcels of land along the Delaware River and the Delaware River Trail connecting to Penn Treaty Park, and authorizing an agreement between the city and the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority for the PRA to act as the city's condemnation agent under certain terms and conditions. And Bill number 160843, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the city to enter into a sublease agreement with the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development for use by the city of premises located at 456 North 5th Street, all under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize a quorum is present. To my left, Councilwoman Gim, Vice Chair Councilman Greenlee, and to my right, Councilman Swilla. Is there anyone here from the administration that wishes to testify on Bill number 160617 today? I believe that is Jim Terrell from the airport. Good morning. Would you please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony?
Jim Tyrell, I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for the Philadelphia International Airport. Good morning, Chairman Heaney and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is James Tyrell. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Philadelphia International Airport. I am pleased to appear before you today to testify in support of Bill number 160617. The bill will authorize the City of Philadelphia through the Department of Commerce, Division of Aviation, and Department of Public Property to acquire a property in Philadelphia which is needed for airport expansion. The property is owned by the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development. It is known as Parcel G and is bounded by Island and Bartram Avenue and I-95 situated in Philadelphia. Parcel G is vacant land of approximately 20.8 acres. The purchase price of $14.175 million was determined by the average of two appraisals conducted by the Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation. The purchase will be funded through the Airports Aviation Fund and will not impact the general fund. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today in support of Bill number 160617 and respectfully request that the rules be suspended to allow for the first reading at the next council session. Thank you, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony. Got a quick question. Does the airport have any immediate need or plans for this parcel, or is it to be used for future use?
Councilman, there is a study underway currently to determine the best site to construct a consolidated rental car facility, which will house all of the rental car companies currently operating at the airport. There are two sites being investigated. This is one.
Is the study ongoing, or is this a product of result of the study that has already been performed?
A study has been conducted and findings have been submitted. They are being reevaluated by a second company to determine the best possible site.
Okay, there's been some public conversation about I guess, relocating the rental car facilities, fees, to accommodate for them. Is this all part of that plan and those conversations?
Yes, Councilman.
Okay. Anyone else on the committee have any questions? Anyone here today wish to speak on 160617? There being none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Councilman.
Next, we will hear testimony of Bill number 160774. Is there anyone from the administration that wishes to testify regarding this bill?
Good morning, Chairman Heenan. Oh my gosh, let me start that over again. Good morning, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is Bridget Collins Greenwald, and I am the Commissioner of the Department of Public Property. I'm here today to testify in support of Bill Number 160774, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the city to make an assignment of an easement for waterfront land on property commonly known as 1143-51 Delaware Avenue on the Delaware River just south of Penn Treaty Park. This easement will allow for the extension of Penn Treaty Park and the expansion of the Delaware River Recreational Trail, and will provide an open space for recreational and other activities. The acquisition of this area will extend the Delaware River Trail from its current terminus just south of Sugar House Casino to Penn Treaty Park. The acquisition area will be open to the public to use for public recreational purposes for both physical and sedentary, don't mind me today, activities including scenic views of the Delaware River. The Department of Public Property supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill Number 160774. I am requesting a suspension of the rules so as to allow for first reading at the next session of council. Thank you. John Monlack and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Scenic views of the river, I love it.
Who doesn't?
Good morning.
Speak.
John Munlock from the Department of Planning and Development. I didn't submit prepared testimony. I only want to add a couple things about the project. The project itself includes 3 parcels. My comments apply to both this bill and Bill 775, which hopefully will be called at this hearing. 3 parcels that the trail will be extended from its terminus right now at the casino across the edge of the water to Penn Treaty Park directly. The acquisition of the first parcel to the north was done by voluntary donation. The next 2 parcels to the south are subject to the next bill condemnation, where we will take 50 foot to the water, off the water's edge if authorized, and those 3 parcels together will be constructed a trail. The trail will be managed through the Delaware River Waterfront Corporation. They will manage the project of building out the trail. They have participation ranges and goals that are part of their corporate policy that they've adopted with the help of OEO, and currently our Commerce Director sits on their board and is actively engaged in their participation program. Their ranges are typically 25 to 30% on construction projects, with a residency requirement of 50%, 32% journeyman for minority and women.
Okay, and this 50-foot trail is consistent with the other trail parcels existing for the Southern Delaware River Trail, is that correct?
Correct. Right now, in the overlay, there's a 50-foot required setback that you couldn't build on, but you don't have to make it open to the public. The one property owner was not willing to do that voluntarily, so we're going to condemn that part that they would have to keep open pursuant to the overlay and build a trail that will allow the public on it, and we'll take an easement. And with that will come the liability for any trail activities.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from other members on the committee? Chair recognizes Councilwoman Gimm.
Just because you ran through the numbers really quickly and we don't have it in writing, can you just repeat again, what is the NWB participation?
The ranges for the construction projects that DRWC manages are 25 to 30% total, 15 to 20% minority, 5 to 10% women, best efforts on disabled, residency requirement of 50%, and 32% for journeymen that includes both women and minorities.
Would you be able to submit that to the chair? Those
Yes, I could have the entire program
that'd
submitted.
be great, and I'll make sure we get it out to the committee members.
Certainly.
And is 15 to 20% MWB, is that like the target rate for the city? I thought it was closer, I thought we were trying to get to 25.
The program at DRWC is intended to at least replicate what the city's program is, if not exceed it. I can't tell you off the top of my head what the city numbers are, but the Commerce Director, because he's also on the board and he oversees the OEO department in the city, he is there to make sure that they are doing what they can do to help encourage participation. But unfortunately, I can't give you the city numbers, I just don't know them.
So your Department of Planning, right, within the city of Philadelphia?
Planning and Development, correct.
So does Department of Planning, you don't know what the city projected numbers are for MWBE as a standard? Is that not made clear to the departments?
No, I think it's in that same range. I think it's 30%, but I can't tell you for sure.
I
So
believe it is 30%.
so this is at 15 to 20, so I'm just trying to understand that.
It's at
I think
25 to
30%.
30.
25 to 30,
Delaware River
20 to
Waterfront
30,
Corporation.
25 to 30 aggregate over the things, but the 15 to 20 number that you initially represented was for MWBE, right?
For minority, 15 to 20 minority, 5 to 10 women.
Okay. I might circle back with other questions later. Thanks.
Any other members wish to, or have any questions on Bill number 160774? Is there anyone else here that wishes to speak on Bill number 16077, or 774? Thank you for your testimony. Commissioner, can you please testify on Bill number 160775?
Sure. Good morning, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is Bridget Collins Greenwald, and I am the Commissioner of the Department of Public Property. I'm here today to testify in support of Bill number 160775, an ordinance authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property on behalf of the city to acquire fee simple title or lesser interest, such as an easement, by purchase, condemnation, or otherwise, in parcels of land along the Delaware River connecting to Penn Treaty Park, and authorizing an agreement between the city and the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority for the PRA to act as the city's condemnation agent under certain terms and conditions. The acquisition of this parcel will provide much-needed space for making, enlarging, extending, operating, and maintaining a public park for public recreational purposes. The acquisition area will be a linear public park and will also extend and enlarge the Penn Treaty Park further south. The acquisition of this area will also extend the Delaware River Trail from its current terminus just south of Sugar House Casino to Penn Treaty Park. The acquisition area will be open to the public for public recreational purposes. The city is constructing the Delaware River Trail to be as close to the Delaware River bank as permissible so the public can enjoy the beautiful scenery. The city hopes to transform the Delaware River waterfront and reconnect the public to the Delaware River. The acquisition of this area will also enable the public to enjoy direct access to Penn Treaty Park. The Department of Public Property supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill number 160775. I am requesting a suspension of the rules so as to allow for the first reading at the next session of council. Thank you. John Monlack and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any members of the committee wish to ask any questions of Bill number 160775? Anyone else here today that wishes to testify or speak on Bill number 160775? I just want to state for the record that you guys better hurry up on the southern portion of the trail, because the northern portion of the Delaware River Trail, which I represent, is a little ahead on the timeline for that scenic view of our river.
Competition is good.
That's right. Well, thank you for your testimony, and thank you for being here today. We will now hear testimony on Bill number 160843. Commissioner Greenwald and Jim Leonard from the Department of Records. You please join, and you may proceed with your testimony, please.
Good morning, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is Bridget Collins Greenwald, and I am the Commissioner of the Department of Public Property. Joining me today is Jim Leonard, Commissioner of the Department of Records. We are here today in support of Bill number 160843, which Councilman Squilla has sponsored on behalf of the administration to authorize the city to lease through the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development the premises located at 465 North 5th Street for use by the Records Department. This lease is necessary because the existing lease of 3101 Market Street is due to expire in September of 2017. Subject to approval of this bill, the Records Department plans to relocate and maintain both public and staff areas, as well as archival quality storage space for the city archives. Much of the new space would be used to securely store many of the city's records. This new facility would also allow the city to relocate and maintain off-site storage space for the Register of Wills. The proposed new space has been carefully chosen and planned to efficiently address the future space needs of the Records Department and the Register of Wills. The Department of Public Property supports this measure, and accordingly, I respectfully ask that City Council approve Bill Number 160843. I am also requesting a suspension of the rules so as to allow for the first reading at the next session of council. Thank you. And turn it over to Jim now, or answer a question, Jim.
Good morning, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee on Public Property and Public Works. My name is James Leonard, and I serve as the Commissioner of the Department of Records. I am pleased to be here to testify in support of Bill Number 160843. This measure would authorize the Public Property Commissioner to act on the city's behalf to lease space to relocate the City Archives and Records Storage Center to significant activities of the Records Department. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight how this relocation is consistent with the mission and operations of the Records Department. The City Archives serves as the permanent repository for the city's one-of-a-kind collection of local historic and cultural records. The archives are open to the public and researchers, including genealogists and academics. Philadelphia school children are frequent visitors. The collection contains historically unique items, such as the first volume of City Council minutes begun in 1704, the original 1701 William Penn Charter, original signatures of Benjamin Franklin, and a variety of documents and images dating from the 18th century on that illustrate the lives of important local figures, including Richard Allen, Absalom Jones, Stephen Girard, and others. The proposed location permits very efficient space planning, and in addition to maintaining existing archives, public and staff spaces, would allow the department to add a room that is open to the public for educational programming, as well as for exhibition of the archive's many unique items. These enhancements would allow the department and the archives to develop new community partnerships and deepen existing collaborations, most notably with National History Day Philadelphia, a partner of the Records Department, Mayor's Office of Education, and the National Archives in this region. The archives are a cultural and academic resource welcoming to the public, one which encourages civic engagement and promotes transparency in government. This location would be consistent with these goals. The Records Storage Center, also part of the planned facility, contains secure storage for the city's inactive business records. Staff at the facility carefully organize, retrieve, and store different city agencies' records and make them available upon request. Many of the records that are stored and retrieved travel between the storage center, the triplex, and other centrally located city offices. The proposed location would facilitate the efficient transport of records. Notably, the physical characteristics of the site would permit upgrading during relocation that would permit faster and safer retrieval and replacement of boxes. These characteristics contribute to business operational efficiency and facilitate the administrative operations of every city department. For the foregoing reasons, the Department of Records supports Bill Number 160843. Thank you. I would be pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your testimony. I have a few questions. Can you state for the record why the city isn't simply just renewing the lease at 3101 Market?
Sure. Drexel University is the owner of that property, and about 2.5 years ago, they approached the city stating that they had to terminate the lease with the city because they had a function they needed it for Drexel.
All right. Also, again, for the record, I guess this is geared a little more towards Jim. The terms of the new lease is not included in the testimony, like the length of the term, cost of improvements. Do you have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
So the length it's a 15-year, 6-month lease. The terms are, it's $12.90 per square foot all in, so base plus operating cost. And the total cost for, did you say for the improvements, which is the shelving And the move itself, for
Yeah.
the last piece. So there's a total cost of $8.2 million for the move. That includes the fit out, the move services, the new shelving units, which the shelving units have to be built a little bit differently to store all this, the new pickers, and that's what that estimate is.
Were there any other sites being considered for the relocation?
Yeah, we considered several other sites. There was quite a search that was done because we had the 2.5 years to look. Based on the factors of the square footage needed and the location needed, so it had to be close to transit, it had to be close to the quadplex, so City Hall, and the triplex, because that's where all the records usually are coming back forth from. So we looked at a few places in the Northeast thinking that they could maybe work, and they couldn't due to the location that would disrupt like records operations. We looked at the Inquirer building when that first came up for sale. We looked at one of our BRAC centers, which house the police facilities right now. None of them were deemed appropriate based on the location. While some of them had the square footage, they just didn't have the location necessary to transport the records back and forth.
And so it stood out because it was available and it was in the proximity to, like you said, City Hall, the triplex.
It met our needs and met the location needs, more importantly, and obviously the square footage needs.
So I assume the move it's 15-year term, and most of the records are, I think you stated, a lot of them are physical documents. Is there any long-term plan to scan or microfilm, however, maybe that's a little out of date these days, microfilm, but...
You dated yourself on that one.
Are you going to scan the records? Is there a longer-term type of archive process that we're going to work towards? Not, like after the move, I would assume.
Thank you, Councilman. We've done a few things, and we're doing a few things in that regard. First, before we move, we've undertaken an effort to clear out as many what we call expired records that have reached the end of their lifespan according to the department's retention schedules. And we're in the process of, at this point, destroying or recycling approximately 8,000, between 8 and hopefully closer to 10 to 12,000 of the existing boxes that are out there. There's 120,000 banker boxes of physical records. And so we hope to keep that going as a means of aggressively disposing of boxes as they become expired. But to your point about electronic records, we do believe that moving towards what we call electronic records management and away from paper-based records is the future of records management in general and should be for the city. And we've begun to have exploratory conversations in the administration to discuss potential options for that. It could be a combination of potentially starting to scan documents out at the site and then also considering whether, as documents are created essentially in the city, whether we start to create them and retain them as electronic records versus maintaining them officially as paper and storing them on site.
Okay, what's the square footage of the storage? And is this going to be the main record storage facility?
Yes.
For all the city's archives and, I'm going to say, national treasures?
Yes.
Okay, what's the square foot of this?
This one won't exceed 80,000 square feet.
80,000?
So between 70 and 80. That's still being determined based on the fit out and the number of records that we send over there. So no less than 70, no more than 80.
Okay, and the landlord I see is Alliance HSP, Philadelphia Warehouse, LP. Who are the principals?
Richard Previti is the managing member.
Richard Previti?
Previti, Previdi.
Okay. Any other members have any questions on bill number 160843? Chair recognizes Councilman Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had just a quick question, and I don't know if it was a typo or a transposition of the numbers, but when you had the address on the ordinance, it says 456 North Fifth Street, but when you testified, you said 465. Well, I don't know which one it is, but it's,
What did I say?
456 North Fifth is on the ordinance, right?
right.
Yeah, it's 456 North Fifth Street. What did I say, 65 when I
Yeah,
testified?
okay, that's,
You know what, did I say 56 and then change it to 65? I keep getting this
that's all right,
transposed.
that's wanted to make sure.
It's 56.
But I also called Jim Greenwald. so,
Yes,
you know.
Oh, well, there you go. So we're all having a bang-up day.
He married you. Thank you.
Any other members have any questions? Anyone? And I still want to put on microfilm, right, jeez. Christ. I'll be wearing bifocals like Ben Franklin. Anyone else here wish to testify on bill number 160843? Yes, I would. Would you please approach, state your name for the record, and you may proceed with your testimony. Is on bill number 160843?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Chairman Heenan and members of the Committee of Public Property and Public Works. My name is Jahad Ali. I'm the president of Contractors Roundtable, which is a group of union and non-union MBE,
Could you put the microphone a little closer to you?
which is union and non-union MBE contractors. I just wanted to follow up on the comment that Councilwoman Jim had asked about when she had asked the previous panel about Bill 160617, and when she questioned him about information regarding MBEs. I found it interesting that he didn't know, but also I think that a lot of times with these bills, when they come in front of these committees, council has passed ordinance before. Is it possible to have them have a copy of their OEO plan at the time they come in front of the committee?
I believe that the EOP plan is public and should be available and made available upon request.
Well, that's all, but Chairman Heenan, you're absolutely right. It is public after a period of time, but at the time when it comes up here, like today, it wouldn't be on the site today. But the time that it's coming in front of you, our leaders that's approving this, you need to see it then so you can have that dialogue so you can actually look at it. Because really, that's where we're getting let down. We're getting, whether it's public property, procurement, Drexel, Penn, we all get broken promises. I'm speaking my opinion from my perspective as an MBE and knowledgeable of all the MBEs that don't get inclusion, that don't get called for inclusion. On Bill 160843, the question I have is, has that contract already been let for the improvements?
I cannot answer that question. I would have to ask the Public Property Commissioner to come back up, and we might be able to address that.
Hi, Bridget Collins, Greenwald Public Property Commissioner. So what we would have is, once we have a finalized lease with this landlord, then we would work out so we don't have the details of how this work is going to take place yet. We don't even have the lease yet.
Okay, but there will be an EOP plan submitted prior to the fit out?
Yeah, we'll follow all the standard.
Okay, how would the public be notified in that situation?
I don't know how I have to be honestly, I don't know, because it could probably through the OEO office, but I could find out. I don't know exactly how the public is notified.
All right, if you would, when the lease is finalized legally, and there is an EOP plan as required by law, would you please submit it to the chair?
Sure, this should go through our capital process, so it should be
publicly announce what the plans are for specific
Sure.
fit-outs. And that goes with any kind of public property fit-out.
Yeah, because this will go through capital. I just don't know what the piece is, how it gets made public.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Ms. Greenwell. And then the other question I asked you, Councilman, was in the future, when this agency and other agencies come to this panel, will they be required to have at least their plan with them? Although the contract might be let, they can still have their commitment to the plan.
No, it's a valid question. I know that, when the bill is introduced, It notifies the public that there should be an EOP, it triggers an EOP plan, and when it comes to any kind of acquisition or public property and public works contracts. Seems like the timing is off maybe a little bit with the law department and or commercial leases and finalizing the legalities of things, but I'll definitely, take that back and see if we can kind of, match up the timings of it.
Well, thank you, because you're the most powerful people in this room. And if you have to have it, when I get it, it's really a moot point. But when you get it, we can change things at that time.
You got it. Thank you for your testimony. Anyone else here wishes to testify on bill number 160843? That being none, we will now leave our public hearing, enter into our public meeting. Chair recognizes Vice Chair Councilman Greenlee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the following bills be reported out as committee with favorable recommendation that the rules of council be suspended to allow for first reading in our next session of council. Bill numbers 160617, 160774, 160775, and 160843.
Second.
It has been moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Bills number 160617, 160774, 160775, and 160843 will be reported out of committee with a favorable recommendation as to be heard at our next council of session with the rule suspension. Thank you very much.
I would also tell you what I retorted. I retorted at the time the same thing I'm about to say now. Troy Vincent, VP Football Operations NFL. Derek Brooks, Appeals Officer. John Runyon, former Congressman, former Philadelphia Eagle, who's now the VP for Policy and Rules Administration, who's the guy that will make that decision within the next day or so, along with a bevy of others, Merton Hanks and others. At one point in time or another in the career of Vontaze Burfict, I have spoken to these individuals. They have given him chance after chance after chance, okay? They have sat up there, I mean, as recently as a week ago, I had one of the dudes, in the appeals department talked about how Vontaze Burfict was